So Rajiv is joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, sir. How are you today? And we'll just make sure you're off mute, sir.
Hi, sorry.
Ah,
Hi, Ash. Good
very
evening. I'm very well here.
excellent, Rajiv. Rajiv, just so the audience knows, tell
Can you
us.
hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Tell
Yes.
us, just so the audience knows, where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Mumbai, India. But my startup is basically based out of Singapore. But
Okay.
uh,
Singapore, Mumbai. All right. So we, as I mentioned earlier, we're probably going to meet people from around the world today, which is always fun. Rajiv, you kind of know the drill. What's going to happen is for those of you that are joining us with video and not on the podcast, I'm in a virtual elevator right now. And when I hit the top of the elevator, I will introduce myself. I would like for you to give me your 1-minute pitch, sir. Are you ready?
yeah, absolutely.
All right, excellent. Rajiv, my name is Ash Singh. I am an heir, a long lineage of connected to the Prince of Patiala in Punjab, right? And I have a lot of money and I'm looking to invest in startups. Tell me what you're working on. Go ahead.
Thank you, first of all, for your time and opportunity to present to you our story. Uh, Based on my experience and our studies also, it's found that a lot of ideas that the founders and entrepreneurs have in their brain, 60 to 70% of those ideas don't see the light of the day. That is mainly because due to lack of technical expertise or knowledge, and founders who are not from the technology background struggle either to convert their ideas into an MVP and beyond, uh, or invest a lot of time and don't basically end up anywhere with their whatever idea they had in their mind.
Yes.
So with that in mind, Metis Pay was formed in 2017 in Singapore with a vision to build a digital enabling platform which can help founders around the globe to quickly convert their ideas into reality in banking, payments, logistics, and e-commerce domain. With this vision, we started to build our platform. The name of the platform is Pebbles. We intend to partner with startups who have focused to solve pain points and make a difference to the community in their respective industries with their innovative ideas on what they are thinking about would help people and the community. So we started in 2017 building the platform. Pebbles is now 3 years old. We operationalized Pebbles with our first partnership 3 years back. Uh, in the last 3 years, we are supporting 4 banks in as many countries in the Middle East Africa region. We have partnered with 9 startups across 3 continents. Banks use our platform to launch pan-bank loyalty programs for the customers primarily. But we have other products which we are in process of launching in India, Africa, and the US in the payment space, e-commerce, and the logistics space. All of this without any spends on marketing and sales, purely through personal contacts and word of mouth publicity by our existing customers and partners, what we have built over the years. Some of the startups that we have worked with are industry first, like a wearable device to just tap and pay on any NFC enabled EDC device in the world. It's a first of a kind in Asia to be launched in partnership with Visa in the prepaid card instrument space. We launched Techie. It's another startup to manage EDC device deployed at merchant locations. So how this is basically very close to my heart because it solves a very big pain points for the banks as well as the third-party processors and acquirers.
Got it.
So since before Techie, an engineer used to take anywhere between 24 hours to 72 hours to reach the merchant location to resolve any issue raised by the merchant with their respective acquirers. Downtime of these devices means loss of business for these merchants. And given the economy and the pandemic, it's very important for these devices basically to be active all the time so the merchant can accept payments and keep the business growing. So we intend to get that 24 to 72 hours timelines down to 3 hours using our AI smart allocation engine that we have built. It's also a first of its kind in the world, where we are focusing on Uberizing the complete experience of management of these payment devices.
Got it. Now, Rajiv, in terms of time, because I know we've
Yeah.
got a couple of minutes over. What are you looking for? What are your what are you how can I help?
So sure. So our focus is basically to create and nurture excellence that adds value to the complete ecosystem. We are looking to raise 5 million USD for 10%, so we can expand our team, invest in R&D, which can to add new features and functionalities into our systems, so we can support more startups in multiple geographies, and also not only help these startups with whom we work with only the technology bit, but also infuse some funds to help them accelerate their in their growth trajectory, basically.
Got it. Got it. All right. Thank you. Let's break down your elevator pitch, Rajiv, right? And in the chat, feel free, guys, to give feedback to Rajiv, because this is kind of where we can help him, guide him, and go through the process. Now, Rajiv, have you raised capital before?
No, not yet.
Currently, it's bootstrapped. Awesome. Because what we're going to do is I want to transform your elevator pitch today, if I may. Okay.
Yeah.
Part of this is just around the psychology of the psychology of the person that you're pitching to. Okay. Remember, you're speaking to, somebody whose time, right? You only usually have a minute to kind of go up the elevator. So the first thing is how do we optimize what you've said into a 1 minute pitch? Because I think your current timing was closer to around 4 minutes, right? So how do we condense that into something? And what I normally tell people is that assume the investor has reasonable intelligence. Okay. Step one is they should know exactly what you're doing in the first 8 seconds. Then you kind of build in the credentials, and through that journey, you need to kind of win them over, right? Because the element of investment is two things. One is, does it fit the investment criteria, but also how likable you are, right? And this is something I observed over and over again, right? Because it's a bit of a gut instinct, right, Rajiv? Like, this investor is going to want to spend, he's going to have to spend the next 5 to 7 years with you, right? Yeah. To kind of see the value grow in terms of the business itself.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of an overarching view. And then you jump into the ask, right? And when you come to the ask, it needs to come with force. It needs to come with confidence. It needs to come with a directive. You're looking at $5 million US. What is it going to do? How is it going to transform your business, right? And what you want to be able to do is read the body language of the person that you're talking to as well, right? And this is why timing is so important, because after you pass around 90 seconds, the person usually will start to retreat, okay? Remember, humans have the attention span of goldfish now, right? Not very high, okay? And although you love your baby, you love your startup, not everyone else does. That's kind of what I've discovered, right? It's just like, you might have seen this, Rajiv, if you go to like a family, like a wedding or something like that, and you have that one person that just keeps on talking on and on about their kid and how amazing their kid is, right? This happens a lot at Indian functions for some reason. That's why every time what I want you to be able to do is be crisp, tight, understand how you're changing the world, what you need, and move on to the next person, because you got to pitch 20 to 40 investors on this. Okay. And then you have to have the right level of follow-on meetings. So that's kind of an overall from a structural component. But Rajiv, I want to kind of get into the actual mechanics of it, right? Because as part of your storytelling, right, you talked about your Pebbles platform, right? Pebbles is kind of the name of the platform. And what was it? And I want to come back to this because I want to share with you how I understood the story and how we can evolve the story a little bit, because we started off with entrepreneurs, early stage idea people. So I was thinking, okay, he's doing something in kind of like a WordPress kind of world, right? You know, in WordPress, you start and it's a sandbox and you can play around with stuff. And you talked about banking, payments, logistics, that kind of group. And then you started off by saying that you're working with 4 banks. And I'm like, well, those guys are really big. They're not early stage companies. So I wanted to kind of come back to my question. And my first question is around where your product market fit is now, right? Because you've obviously explored this. Where do you think that your product market fit is, right? What is the Pebbles platform, okay? And who loves it now, Rajiv? That's my question to you. We're having a fun day today, Benji, for a Zoom connection today. Are we having Zoom? Am I okay? Am I okay?
Yeah, very clear. How about us, Ash?
You guys are okay too. But it
Yeah.
looks like Atlanta and Mumbai, maybe there's like some weather patterns or stuff like that, you know. We'll wait for Rajiv to come back. I thought we dropped. Okay. We're having one of those fun days. Let's keep the feedback coming into the chat, right? You know, it's important to drive the right elements around the story, right? And so that was my question to him. But with Rajiv's company, I want to really dig deep and get to that point where we dig into the actual value prop in terms of where he's at right now. So let's see where he goes. I think he might be back now, right? Rajiv's back. Rajiv has returned. Okay. Hi, Rajiv.
Sorry about that. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
So Rajiv, my question to you was around product market fit. Okay. So in your current form, right? Because I want to get into, you know, what are you currently doing? Who is your current customer? And what are you doing really, really well in this very crowded fintech space around payments and logistics? I want to get to that granularity. So can you share with me a little bit about that, please?
Sure. So our focus is basically to create value through our partnerships that we do. The partnerships that we do with the banks is basically to get our engine running.
Sure. Sure.
But our primary focus is to work with other startups which have very good idea, like in the payment space, like using AI to basically help ease their processes or internal working, the business processes and the workflows that these guys follow, and probably add value in that kind of a space. So our primary objective is to basically build products that create value, and partnership with the banks is just to keep our engine running, actually, to be honest.
Got it. So you're working with the banks just as a means for them to drive revenue, right? So you're like working in a consultative element, but what your focus is to help startups. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you mentioned value. And when I think about fintech and payments, for me, value for a company, I want to go into more specifics, because when we think about value and money, it's about increasing profitability, increasing revenue, lowering cycle time, lowering sales cycle time, factoring, invoice discounting. Tell me a little bit about, Rajiv, where the startups aim to find value through you that they might not be able to find anywhere else.
So generally, so in the payment space, so there are multiple segments that each of the or similar kind of an apps that are being launched in India and elsewhere are focusing on a particular area, like on the consumer side or on the merchant side, where they give the merchants discounting or the cash flow part, or on the consumer side with certain cards, and BNPL is the new catchword in the payments fintech space. So what our platform does is basically encapsulates everything. So we have on one side created a network or an ecosystem where we have on the consumer side a payment variable payment device. And on the other side, we have merchants also through Techie, like we have onboarded all of them on the same platform. So what we intend to do is basically create an ecosystem where each of these startups are interlinked to each other, and like they grow, basically grow together, help each other in a way, like be like this one startup feeds into the others feeds into this, and basically like an ecosystem that grows together. So that's our primary focus. That's why, like in these business process, if you say, from the consumer to the merchants to the delivery and the logistics part, so we've covered the of the supply chain, and not individually as a individual company, but multiple startups linked together on the same platform. So that's where we are focusing with Pebbles, to be honest.
So Rajiv, like, I want to make sure we hammer this point. Does that make sense? There needs to be a powerful one sentence around what you just said, Rajiv. And that needs to come out very quickly. Because I feel, and again, Rajiv, you guys are very intelligent, okay? But a lot of you guys, like the elevator pitch, right? I want to make sure it properly and accurately represents you. I feel like the world needs to know the amazingness of what you've created. And in the pitch, it didn't come out to me. And I need this to come out, right? This is very important. So I want to come back to this. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's pull it. I want to extract this because you talked about the idea of creating a next generation, ecosystem or sandbox, right, for startups. And what you're doing is you're allowing different companies that are creating plugins, inputs, with the buy now, pay later, right? Merchant related plugins, consumer related plugins for people to interact in the e-commerce space. And what you're saying is people can come in because all these plugins are available. People are now going to be able to create the next generation fintech platforms that start with you. Is that correct?
Yes. To an extent, yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
just like WordPress started off with a simple blogging tool and they got all their plugins firing, and then people could co-create and make stuff happen. Is that what you're doing, Rajiv, in the e-commerce space? Is that fair to say? Or the fintech space?
Yes, to an extent.
Okay. What am I missing?
To an extent, yes.
What am I missing, Rajiv? What am I missing?
No, you are perfectly like on the point what we are trying to build, basically. So we want to build an ecosystem which is self-sufficient and interacts with each other to complement these services that each of the sections of the systems basically brings onto the table.
Got it. And so your pain point is at the moment when somebody wants to create a little bit more of a complex financial product in the digital space, it's very difficult to do because all the pieces are not communicating. So you bring the sandbox together and you're able to drive that, create that. And then you also mentioned, Rajiv, this element of artificial intelligence. Tell me about that. Tell me about how that plugs into what we just said.
So that plays a very important role where we want to reduce the timelines of, say, everyone like Amazon, all the e-commerce players want to reduce the delivery timelines to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So there are two aspects to that. One is the availability of the resource and get the right kind of resource to basically attend to a particular call or a delivery or whatever request that comes in. So the getting resources on board is one part of it, but getting the right kind of resource to go to a particular call is where the artificial intelligence comes into the picture. So what the platform does is understands what is the request, sees based on experience, the distance, what is the history of that guy basically working on the platform, what kind of requests he has fulfilled in the past. And maintaining EDCs is a very niche kind of thing. No, not all guys can do it. So there has to be some kind of an engineer who knows how the EDC works and stuff. So that's where the artificial intelligence comes into the picture. to get the right person to and the time. So how quickly can we get that person to the location to fix the issue? So that's where the complete artificial intelligence component comes into the picture.
And so, Rajiv, your background, by the way, is what? Tell me a little bit about, just so everyone else knows, what's your background?
I'm into technology completely.
Yeah,
So
right. So you're a hacker. You're a pure play hacker, right?
yeah, okay, yes.
And so that's important to think about. So when I think about, we were talking about consumer merchant plugins and stuff like that. You've already built this library. You've already built this library of plugins and components, right? Tell me about the plugins that you've created or you've plugged in. You said you've got a list of all these elements. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes. So say if someone wants to launch a digital currency, like on the consumer side, someone wants to launch a digital currency like an e-wallet or an e-voucher or loyalty points, or even issue cards like co-branded gift cards. So we can do that through the ecosystem and through our partnerships with the banks. On the process side, like on the business sides, we have tools like a promotion engine. Like in a particular legacy scenario, a bank, if they want to run a particular promotion, so there are multiple teams that come into the picture to go to their IT, develop something, build it into the system, then they have to go to the marketing. There are a lot of ways. So they take around 3 to 7 days to get it done. So with our system, we have built in a promotion engine, which they can create any kind of promotions and campaigns like this. On the merchant side or on the logistics side, we have this AI component which basically matches the request with the correct resources to handle that kind of request. And on the merchant side, we have the ledger management, we have loyalty campaigns management, we have the EDC managements. So all those plugged in into the ecosystem already.
And so, would it be fair, Rajiv, for me to say this example? Again, part of it is simplification, but you are creating that next generation WordPress environment for the fintech space. Is that correct? That next generation of people that are going to be interacting. And I know, because people understand WordPress, right? And how the plugins work together and they're able to fuse together and people can kick things off, right? And get things going. Is that okay? How do you make money, Rajiv?
We work with banks, as I said, for every program that we launch, we charge them a setup. We have a monthly recurring fee that we charge for using our platform, and a transaction fee. Like every time a point or a transaction happens on our system, we charge a fee to the bank. On the startup side, to use our platform, there are two things. One, we acquire stake into the companies. Also, we have a monthly remuneration that comes for the technical teams and everything that works on the platform.
You're looking for $5 million US?
Yes.
Get this going. All right. Okay. And let me see. Would you like me to pitch your idea back to you, Roger?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be a great experience.
We're talking about Pebbles, right? We're talking about banking, payment, logistics. We're talking about you're Singapore based, right? Okay, so we're going to pitch this in Singapore, which will be fun. You're looking for $5 million. You're innovating the payment space. Talked a little bit about the merchant space, the consumer space, creating a digital currency, gift cards, all of those components, right? Buy now, pay later plugins, all of those elements together. And you're able to, optimize this, and you've created this next generation ecosystem. Okay. Got it. All right, Rajiv, you get to introduce yourself, and I'm going to, this might sound very different, Rajiv, than the pitch that you just did, but that's okay. That's why we're here. And what I want to do, Rajiv, is I want you to introduce yourself. Okay. And yeah, so you introduce yourself, and I'll pitch it back, And Christine, for this pitch, I'm going to need 65 seconds instead of 60 seconds because I need 5 extra seconds to qualify myself just to make it as customizable for Rajiv. Okay. We're going to 2X's, hopefully 2X's elevator pitch today, Christine. All right. So Rajiv, you get to kickstart, you get to be a rich investor in Singapore, right? You know, you can introduce yourself and let's get started. Go ahead. We'll get Rajiv to introduce himself and we'll get started. Okay. Rajiv, are you ready? Are you ready, Rajiv?
I am back.
All right,
yeah, sorry, my internet is very flaky today.
That's okay. Don't worry. We'll, you know, when we put this on our podcast, we'll cut these elements out. And but this is live today, so but all good. So Rajiv, I would like you to just introduce yourself, and I will talk about the Pebbles platform. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Hi, I'm a serial investor and I've invested in companies that have turned unicorns in the past. So I'm looking for the next one.
All right.
I would love to see if you can be the next one. Please
Excellent. Well, Rajiv, thank you very much. My name is Ash Singh, and I am the hacker co-founder of the Pebbles platform. And like every unicorn, everything starts in a very small level, right? And that's why we've called our platform Pebbles. As you know, platforms like WordPress have truly innovated how people start, begin, and develop concepts on the World Wide Web. They provided a very simple platform and got all these plugins to kind of come in together and allowed any entrepreneur to get started, to innovate and create their first web product. What we've done as part of the Pebbles platform is we've developed the next generation fintech sandbox. We've partnered and developed a platform so any person looking to develop a fintech product, whether it's a digital currency, whether it's a gift card platform, a promotional way to reach out to customers, a buy now, pay later platform, we've plugged it all together to allow anyone in the developed world, the undeveloped world, the underbanked world, the developing world, to be able to create a platform that can make some real traction happen. We've been developing this over the last several years. We've bootstrapped it. We have the right relationships with the banks and the right technology piece to become that next generation platform to power the next generation fintech ideas around the world. We're looking for $5 million to take this to the next level, and we believe that this can be the next fintech unicorn built out of Singapore and Southeast Asia. I'd like to chat to you a little bit more over a coffee on how we've built it and what are the elements that we've succeeded on and how you can participate, sir. Thank you. All right, Rajiv, that's my pitch. What do you think?
That completely changed my viewpoint of how to look at my own company.
Does that make sense? Was there elements
yeah, absolutely.
that are valuable?
That was excellent.
Right?
Yeah, no, that was completely very excellent, actually.
That's what you're doing. You're a platform play, and you have to come in. The power of the plugins, the low code, and I didn't use some of the terms I wanted to. I didn't want to make it too complicated. So, you know, low code, zero code, connection points, how people, I use the word sandbox, but that's kind of where you're going with this, right?
Absolutely.
And I think the idea of product market fit is also important as well. Okay. So Rajiv, I want to thank you for your time. Hopefully you found value today, and look forward to the next phase in your journey as part of the Hyper Accelerator program. Have a wonderful day, Rajiv. Take care.